Hey, I'm Rick Hudock, pastor at Westhaven Baptist Church, talking a little bit about Easter Sunday. You remember that time when you were real small, real little, and you were shopping with your mom? And you were caught up looking at something there on a shelf, and suddenly you realized mom wasn't there in the aisle with you. A little bit of panic sets in. You looked around, maybe ran to the next aisle and the next aisle looking for her. In the meantime, mom would realize that you weren't with her and she began looking for you as well. But there was that moment of absolute panic and aloneness and vulnerability when you realize that the protection, the one who was guiding you, the one who was always there with you, wasn't. I have to think that's some of the emotions that the disciples had when Jesus was crucified. He was gone. That panic, that sense of aloneness and vulnerability, that sense of lostness. But then it got even worse for the disciples. Imagine, if you will, that you have buried a loved one, whether their ashes were put in a hole in the ground or a casket was used, and someone very dear, very close to you, and you lingered after the funeral service and watched the men with their machinery bury your loved one. A couple days later, you went back to the cemetery expecting to spend some time there by the graveside, weeping and drawing some comfort from being close to the body or the ashes. But when you get there to the cemetery, there's a big hole in the ground that's empty. There's no casket. There are no ashes. Can you imagine the sense of panic all over again? The sense of violation? Someone has taken the body. Who would do such a thing? Such a violent, personal thing like that. And of course you'd begin to look around and make phone calls and hope that there was some kind of logical explanation. I have to think that when the disciples, when Mary Magdalene, the women, came upon that empty tomb at first on Easter, there were those kinds of feelings. Again, of panic, violation, a sense of something violent had been done, something wrong had been committed. And then they saw Jesus. Easter is the great relief. It's finding mom in the store. It's understanding that that loved one has not been stolen, but raised from the dead. Jesus' resurrection was a great relief, not just to the disciples, but to all of us, for all humanity. Our sins have been dealt with. What a relief. Our fears, our aloneness, our isolation, our darkest fears have been dealt with. What a relief. This Sunday at 11 a.m. at Westhaven Baptist Church in Portsmouth, Virginia, we're going to celebrate the great relief that is Christ's resurrection. We're going to celebrate the fact that Daddy is still with us. Our spiritual parent, God, has never left us. The Son of God has risen from the dead, He's not been a victim. He's the victor. The great relief. This Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, Westhaven Baptist Church, 11 a.m. Visit us in person in Portsmouth, Virginia, or watch us online as well. It's a great, great day.